It looks fun. If you split channels, it should be a good time.
Yeah, no, thank you. So, guys, we're live now. Sorry for the delay. Welcome to Reezy Talks episode number 56. Today, we have an awesome guest. Well, all our guests are awesome, but today we have Mark Meyer here, which is funny because that's also his Instagram. But Mark, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know kind of what you're going to bring to the table on this episode.
So, guys, my name's Mark, and I've been a reseller for over a decade now. I started really young, and the unique thing I can offer to you guys is I've been to more auctions than almost anybody in different places. I've seen every type of auction, and I use auctions to source all my material for reselling. And I have had amazing scores at auctions. I've had terrible losses. And anything you want to know about auctions, I can tell you about it. And that's really what I'm particularly known for. And if you guys may have seen my TV show called Baggage Battles, I host a television show where we tour the world looking at all kinds of different types of auctions. And my favorite kind of auction really does unclaimed and lost items. Those are my particularly favorite, mainly because the governments run them and for a host of other reasons. But I'm excited to be here, talk to you guys direct. And listen, for the next 2 hours, you're going to want to lean in because this is going to be a really good Reezy Talks.
Awesome. Thanks, man. So, down below in the description, we have Mark's Instagram and his YouTube link. So go down there, click on those, follow him on Instagram, subscribe to him on YouTube. As always, show our guests some love. But you're going to want to stay tuned to the end and tell them why, Mark.
All right, so for fun and a little enjoyment, and I want you guys to really win some money and learn about auctions. At the end of this Reezy Talks, we're going to keep track. I have Rick over here. We're keeping track of this is the criteria. You can have a chance to win $100, and we're going to give away one of my hats and Baggage Battles DVD sets. So these are the rules. First and foremost, you got to like this YouTube, this live special Reezy Talks. I want you to go follow me on Instagram at Mark Meyer here and my YouTube at Mark Meyer here. And lastly, when you're done, get up in the comments section and write, if you ain't flipping, you slipping.
I love it.
And it automatically enter you. Rick's over here on the side doing Word document. And then we're going to print out all the names. We're going to show you the names and then we're going to cut them up and we're going to spit out some PayPal money for you guys.
That's awesome. Also, I'm getting a prize because Mark sent me a giant box. This, like, I would have to zoom out the camera to show you this box, but you could fit 4 Reezy heads in this box all ways. So I have no idea what's in this box, and he told me I can't open it till the end of the broadcast.
Yeah, man.
So that's I also didn't bring any scissors to the table, so I'm gonna have to like just go animal style on this thing.
Yeah, go to town. It'll be like Christmas.
Awesome. So let's get into it. How'd you get into doing auctions?
So auctions became something in my life. I started reselling like really early. I was mowing the lawns of the local neighborhood. Then I got into repairing small engines and I started flipping lawnmowers. And then when I was like 16, I was working construction and I met someone that changed my life. It's like if I never met this guy, I don't think I ever would have known about auctions. And I had a coffee and a bagel getting the crew some breakfast. And a guy was all like jittery and excited. And he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "I just want you to know, like, my friend bought a room on a website called auctionzip.com and he found $20,000 in bearer bonds.
Wow.
And he quit the job and I can't wait to do it myself." And I never ever forgot that.
Wow.
And Auction Zip was like how we used to find them, and it still is. But Auction Zip was like the website that not a lot of people knew about, and
now it's kind of played out, right? To where like if
it's
you find an auction and it's not on Auction Zip, you probably get a little bit excited.
yes, yeah, I would prefer. I mean, like we used to have to find auctions in newspapers and clippings and word of mouth is how we found out. And then Auction Zip was like this underground site because like still 10, 15 years ago, it was more word of mouth than just the internet. And I met that guy and I never, ever forgot it. And when I graduated college, years later, I never ever applied for a job. I got my business license. I scouted 2 auctions and I went straight to work. I went to like my first storage auction, and I did storage auctions for about 2 years before they went on TV, and we were killing it. My first storage unit, I bought it for 300, and I sold the contents for over 3,000, and I was like, this is the job for me.
Nice. And then what? TV killed it?
TV like put it over the edge in a way like nobody could expect. I had been doing eBay from the age of 15, and 15, 16, 17, I was doing eBay. Like I had to lie to get a checking account. I had to like get a joint checking account so I could get a PayPal account.
Right.
And I mean, that was like back in the day when eBay started out, and like just for fun, like you guys don't know how easy you have it, but like this was my first camera. This
Nice.
this is a Sony Mavica, and it used
Is
to
it,
take,
what is it, like 0.8 megapixels?
yeah, it's 0.8 megs, and it took a 1.2 megabyte floppy in the side, and I mowed lawns the entire summer to get that camera. It was like $420 to shoot 0.8 megapixel.
Yeah, dude, technology came around. I did the same thing. I had to work a whole summer washing dishes to get my first video camera, to make my first skateboard video when I was like 14.
Wow. Yeah, technology changes, and the one thing I've noticed in this business and all businesses, things change. Things change slowly, but people are even slower to change. So back then, like eBay was so fresh that it was still like at the age of the time when putting your credit card online was like a dangerous thing. Like people almost didn't even trust it. And people were scared to buy on eBay and sell on eBay. And then it just became like happenstance, like ordering a cup of coffee at Starbucks. You know, nobody bats an eye now because customer service is so good.
Right,
Um,
your credit card company is gonna lose your credit card number anyway, so you might as well give it to eBay.
Yeah. So one of the amazing things about auctions, so I did storage auctions for many years. I found a lot of amazing stuff, and I got a storefront. I had a thrift store for 2 years, and that was the beginning of that. Also happened at the beginning of the television show. So I was about a year and a half into having the thrift shop, and I got contacted by my business coach, and he said to me, "Hey, there's a production company up in New York. It was like someone wrote your resume, and you need to contact them." And that was Glennon Cameron, who was a big storage auction YouTube guy, and he put me in touch with My Tupelo Entertainment in New York. And I did a 30 minutes. I did like a 10-page written application, and then a 30-minute Skype interview with Tony Miros out in California. And I had him rolling on the floor laughing. He was dying at the jokes I was telling him because he was asking me all the juicy stuff. What's the raunchiest thing you ever found? What's the wildest thing you ever found? Have you found any guns? Have you done this? And it was actually, I told him full disclosure, and I didn't hear anything for 6 months. And then I got a phone call out of the blue. Hey, this is Joe Townley out in New York City. Would you be able to come down for a sit-in for an interview? And I went down, and it was like a walkthrough interview.
Because you
They
live in
had-
New York. Did you live in New York at the time?
yeah, I'm Long Island represent, and I've been born and raised in Long Island. I grew up in Lindenhurst, and now I reside in Freeport. And I took a 35-minute train ride into the city, and I met my future boss. And they showed me who my competition was, and they said something that like makes my heart jump now. And they said, Mark, if you do a good job, um, we're going to send you to Miami in 7 days. If you do a good job in Miami, you'll be in London in 13. So good luck, kid. If this goes well, like who knows? Maybe we'll get you a season. And season 1 came. We shot some pilots and then did a mini series, and it was a big thing. I mean, we had really big budgets, and that's like as a 23-year-old kid who's been like kind of like in as
How old are you
resellers.
now?
I'm 31.
Okay, so I'm
So
33, similar ages.
yeah, man. And you've had a much different life path than me. I'm rocking the single life, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
yeah, man. I applaud you. You know, I see Luna and the girls, and like you seem like you got your hands full.
Oh, dude, I wouldn't change it for anything, but it is hard to get stuff done when you have so much going on.
Yeah. Well, you put up quite a list of things you get done. So props to you. And, I know that a lot of people watching right now, we all appreciate the content as well as me. And, I absorb as well as the content you guys are going to get tonight. It's going to be exclusive. And I'll give you some of my best tips about auctions.
Awesome. So first season goes down.
First season, we got a mini series. That mini series went to a full season. They held it back, and they launched the first season, and we had great ratings. It was a very popular show. Season 2 got greenlit like you wouldn't believe. Season 3 greenlit almost instantly, and like within about 2.5 years, we filmed those 3 seasons. We had a year off, thankfully, because TV is exhausting. Despite what you may believe, it's a lot of fun. We travel all the time. And then season 4 came around, and season 4 was a big thing. They gave us a huge, huge push, which was really cool. They put together a huge advertising budget, and that was a photo I sent to you. I logged in eBay one day and saw my face, which was like a slap to my face that they were advertising on eBay and Amazon that this was a show about, resellers.
Right.
And so season 4 came along. We had amazing ratings, and then the show was canceled due to the fact the CEO was changed out, and they basically changed it on us, and we were brought back by popular demand.
Oh,
We
nice.
I had a year and a half off. I traveled around the world. I flew I circumnavigated the globe. I went on a backpacking trip by myself. And on a beach in Thailand, I got the phone call from Joe Townley, that New York voice. And he said, Mark, some things are happening over here. And I just need you to know that you can't get too far, right? Stop running around the beach with all these girls. And you need to come back because things are happening. And then I got a phone call from my director of photography and said, hey, just so you know, I put budgets together. Things you're going to go live when you get back. I got off the plane. 6 days later, I was flown to Canada, and we worked in Canada all summer producing season 5. And that was broadcasted through Europe and Canada, and still to this day, like one of the best shows in the UK in terms of reality is Baggage Battles. It's either 1 or 2 in terms of
So
viewership.
how real is it? Because we all know a lot of those types of shows are faked, right? Like Dave
So,
Hester famously, got kicked
oh
off the
yeah.
show for exposing storage wars. But I mean, I understand what it's like to make a thing. You couldn't have people following you around going to, like say me to a thrift store and I just come up empty-handed because you have to pay everybody, right? The guy holding the mic, the lights, like everything. So I'm just
Mhm.
curious about Baggage Battles.
So the other thing I want to keep in mind, you guys see a small 21-minute airing, and it takes us about 5 days to film. So in terms of what you see in fake, I would say it's about 60-40. And what I mean is that 60%, it all really happens exactly the way that we present it, with the exception that the timeline that you guys see it is not always accurate. Second, they either want me to come up really big or come up really short. So often, like in reselling, our base hits are the most common.
Yep.
So, I buy for 30 and I sell for 100. That's not good enough for glam. They would prefer that they waited until I lost 500 and was upset about it, or I made 3 grand. So almost everything that's in my normal wheelhouse, you guys don't get to see on the average flips. And then the other thing that's often contrived is our emotions or faces is edited to look in a certain light. So
So like a
it's
reaction to something
oh
might be
that's
from a different scenario, but it fits the storyline that they're trying to paint.
yeah, that's the most common way that the storyline is manipulated. My is like, oh, I'm so angry at Billy, or oh, I'm so angry at this person or that person. I could be angry with someone else, and he didn't sign a release, so they're not going to show his face.
Right,
So
right.
it's easier, and
Is there
it's
a lot of retake? Is there a lot of retakes too, where they're like, "Oh, like we didn't get the good angle on this, so you need to say that again, and we're gonna shoot it from
so
over here."
so dub overs are common, but what is more common during the auction, you're seeing it for what it is. Like
Yep.
there's no double takes, there's no nothing. You're gonna see that for what it is. Most of the takes that happen there are never contrived or changed. What we do modify with is there are times that we have airplanes. I mean, it's like technical stuff. You have
Right, right,
airplanes or someone talks over you. Those are extremely common to do double takes, or they just want what's known as wides and tights.
right.
So we'll, redo some of the uh, yeah, some of the takes because you have to. So the fun part about baggage battles was the amount of auctions that we were able to attend. That was the most amazing part to me. And some of my biggest finds actually involved like the government. And I got involved with the police one time because what we're buying is unclaimed and lost merchandise generally with the show. So it's there was one time I bought like a security system that was encrypted and the government had to contact us and take it back. And then the other time I got sued by Rolls-Royce. So
Why
it
did you get sued by Rolls-Royce?
yeah. I got sued by Rolls-Royce because I bought aircraft parts that were serialized, and when we put them online, they backtracked them as a lost product or stolen product, and they were missing. Long story short, I got a cease and desist letter. I got a lawsuit from a lawyer presented to me, and I have been threatened to be sued like 10, 15 times. So, and generally what it is because I deal in unclaimed property from auctions that all the time we get people who say, "Hey, you took our stuff," and what they don't realize is it was just unclaimed, or they left it behind, or someone stole it and then it was recovered, but they couldn't find them. So, some of my favorite auctions are unclaimed auctions,
Right.
auctions where I travel, and then anytime there's a bulk, there's a huge amount of
So
stuff.
unclaimed, exactly like for like what O.J. Simpson just got out of jail for trying to beat up the dude that had his merchandise or whatever, but it wasn't
Oh,
technically
really?
his.
That's what happened? Oh
Yeah,
shit.
he like confronted a dude and got physical with him. I don't know the details, but he ended up going to jail, and it was like OJ was pissed because dude had his merch, but it wasn't his merch anymore because it came from, like a storage locker he didn't pay his bill on or something like that.
So I got stories for you. We could talk hours about those type of stories because I've had threats. I've had a lot of people get angry, and there is a good way to go about it, and there's not a good way to go about it. I would again ask you guys, please like this video for Reezy and subscribe to my YouTube because I have several videos coming out that's going to exactly spell this out. And again, there's $100 giveaway. All you guys got to do is follow us. Follow my Instagram and YouTube and if you ain't flipping, you're slipping. All right.
So
Rick's
in
writing
in,
it down.
in the comments right here, there's a follower username Amazon Seller 99. They said that they actually were in an episode of Baggage Battles with
Cool,
you.
man. Awesome. Awesome. Well, they could probably give credit to the fact that there are just 3 cameras and us sitting there. And once the auction goes, there's not anything a producer could do about it.
Right.
They
That's
couldn't stop it
someone
or
said
anything.
that too. And then there's another person, thrift shop, gift shop, that says they met you in Thailand.
Oh, really? Man, yeah. Well, props to you. I got to spend 5 weeks in Thailand. Another crazy story. I got deported from India, so I had a longer trip in Thailand than expected, and I met a lot of people, and I appreciate you guys following me all the
Why
way
did you
here.
get deported from India? We got to get this.
So I got deported from India because I flew there after Thailand, and when I got there, the custom agent said, "All right, give me your visa," and I gave him my visa number, and I began to ask questions, and he got really uneasy with me, and he stood up and he said to me, "Shh, everybody on this line must find a new line. You come with me now." And they walked me to the back, and I got detained in the airport for 4 hours because my visa wasn't approved. So they told me it would only take 3 weeks to get my approval. It was 4.5 weeks. They were backlogged. I arrived in a country without permission to enter, and I was deported on the spot. They held my aircraft, and they put me back in the same exact seat. And I had a military escort on the plane where
Wow.
they handed my passport to the pilot. The pilot never even looked at me. He took my passport, walked it to the cockpit, and Yeah, I got a military escort off the plane in Thailand, and then I was an international refugee for like 8 hours.
That's awesome. A
Yeah,
scary but awesome
yeah,
story.
yeah, yeah. My Indian fans love that story. They want me to come back.
Oh man, I got to make it out to Thailand. I hear it's like the place to kick it.
Yeah, I could send you some photos and shout out to the person I met in Thailand and everybody. I got treated with such love. I was living on $8 a day there.
Like a
Reezy,
king, huh?
if you could do videos in Thailand with your family, you wouldn't come back. You know, other than schooling for the kids,
Right.
take them. Like it's crazy how great Thailand is. I couldn't rave about it
As far
enough.
as like the weather and the cost of living.
Yeah, whether cost of living, it's a pretty safe culture. Like as a New Yorker, I'm like kind of fearful of everybody, but considering how like Buddhist and Hindu that Thai people are, it was really really safe, and I appreciated that. So I got to see a lot of auctions. I got to go to France on baggage battles. You'll see we went to Normandy, France for a military auction. I've been to London for two different auctions. They flew us to
So
Scotland.
does that mean that you were bidding in other currencies?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You're like you had to pick it up real quick. You're like 1,000 francs, like you don't even know how much it is.
Absolutely. One of the reasons that I think I'm really good at reselling and auctions, I'm fast with math. I'm not like particularly precise, but I'm very fast with math. A lot of auctioneers will auction and they'll say, "Hey, oh, we're gonna do times the money," and it'll be like 276 pieces, and they'll start it off at like 20 cents a piece, and then you got to like do all this quick math to try to figure it out. Um, and that's yeah, that's what I'm good with. Currencies. We went to South Africa on an episode, and that was great. If you ever want to go flipping, Reezy, I'm serious. You should go to South Africa because the currency is in your favor. Like not just currency, but the price that things sell there are so much cheaper and exotic to us
Right.
that I have plans to go there with Lawrence, one of the hosts, to go fill a container and bring it back.
Oh
That's how
wow.
that's how good I thought it was. So I'm gonna have a drink of a
What
Red
kind of
Bull.
stuff would you be bringing back from South Africa?
So a lot of early because South Africa is a English colony, they had a lot of early English stuff that they didn't appreciate, but here in America it would be rare. So in any time that I'm going to an auction or I'm going to a place outside of my normal stomping grounds, I want things that are undervalued and I want items that are common undervalued to the people there and common to them there. So like I go to the Amish auctions all the time in the Pennsylvania, and I bring back a lot of antiques because to them they're like, what are we going to do with these old antiques? We want the newer stuff. Meanwhile, the Brooklynites, as I call them, they buy all that stuff for a premium, and it's undervalued there, and it's sold at a premium in Brooklyn. So those are always the arbitrage that I'm looking for, and I generally do it with auctions.
Nice. So let's talk about like general auction stuff. Like say I wanted to get into auctions tomorrow. How am I going to find auctions near me that I can go to?
So I would say there's three major methods. The first one is going to be auction zip. The second one is to basically just search, and the third one is newspapers. So, by law, a auction for unclaimed merch or generally like anything unclaimed or sold at a public auction, which is bankruptcy, liquidation, or unclaimed goods, by law has to be published in a newspaper. So generally, if you check the newspaper regularly, you'll always find some good auctions. But the place to be is really auctionzip.com. And third, it really comes down to the Facebook, the Craigslist, the loopholes. At this point, I've been doing auctions so long that I get phone calls from auctioneers, um,
Wow.
and that they know what I like, and also something to throw to Rally Roots. He always talks about talking to people in the business, trying to meet other people, and he meets auction buyers, and then you network. People know what I buy now, so they let me know when an auction's happening. The same thing if you guys network with other people at the auctions, you tell them what you're interested in because we all have some kind of passion, whether it be books or tools or electronics, and then you network from there. And then when there's a big auction, you forward the information or people let you know. Generally, the good thing about auctions is they're planned. They're never last minute. They're never like in 2 days from now we're going to spring an auction. They're always well planned at least a week or two in advance because of those publications, and it's important that you guys pay attention. So I generally search like once every 3 days, and I never really miss an auction. And then this is important. If you're serious, go sign up on every auctioneer's web, their email address, their email list, and you'll get all the notifications.
Nice. Yeah, I never got into auctions myself, but I was inspired by the TV shows like a lot of people. And obviously I was doing what I'm doing now, but I figured, hey, I'll go to some storage auctions, and I probably went to about 10, maybe 15,
Hmm.
and I didn't buy, let's see. I No, I don't think I ever bought one because I was always looking for books, and I never found one that I thought had books in it. And I definitely bid on maybe 10 or a dozen during that period, but didn't win because I was just super unsure, like if I would have saw books, I probably would have went in harder because then I'd be like,
Hmm.
okay, well at least I know those, and then like whatever else is in the rest. But it's super hard to pull the trigger, in my opinion, when you're like wet behind the ears on an auction, like, and
Was,
that
was
wasn't like my main thing, and I had other shit to do, right? So it's like,
mm,
if that was my only option, I probably would have just like pulled the trigger and then bid it off and figured it out, But
mm,
and it also seemed to me that because a lot of the people that I would see there would be people I recognized from other sourcing spots, from Goodwills, thrift stores, flea markets, whatever. Just I knew half the people that were there already. And it seemed like they were basically baller blocking, like they were bidding higher just because they didn't want me to win anything. Is that
yeah,
is that a pretty much a normal thing when you're new to a certain auction?
I am really happy that you brought that up. I had to pay my dues for 2 years to get in.
So
That's the truth.
you had to overpay for 2 years
Yes. Yeah. Maybe I would say a year and a half, and by year two, I was left alone. Um,
because they realize you're not going to go away after that.
Yes, and that's what it was. When I got in storage auctions, it was before the television shows came out. Not that I'm proud of it. It really messed my business up once the TV shows hit, and I underestimated what those TV shows would do to my business. I was blocked. My first few units were terrible. I was only allowed to get the worst rooms, and I was a very, very broke college student with a little beat up S10 truck. So I could only take the smallest rooms, and anytime the rooms went high, I couldn't even compete. I'll give you some math. I've bought over 100, maybe 150 storage lockers. This is about the math. You make money on 65% of the rooms, you lose on like 20% of the rooms, and you hit it out of control, like unbelievable home runs in 10% of the rooms. So one out of every 10 is a room that pays for like the month. Um, I have hit gold coins, guns. I've hit a giant box of sex toys. I've hit a giant. I've hit a stadium seat. I've hit the gambit on what it was. I've gotten rooms that belong to single mothers. I've hit rooms that belong to really wealthy uh, people that live on the North Shore. And one tip, because it's just all flowing out right now, um, you guys, where the rich people are where the better rooms are.
Oh
It's just
yeah,
facts.
that's pretty
There,
much that's where all the good stuff is, right? Because people only if what we're buying is generally either stuff people donated or forgot about, or both forgot about it and then it got donated, right?
yeah,
Like when you find really good stuff, someone didn't donate it, someone else did who didn't know it was really good stuff, or they didn't search all
yes,
the stuff or whatever. But I always tell people you need to look at the median home income, or the medium income, the medium home price, like all that stuff is going to determine, the quality of what's going to be there. So, and also I sell mostly books. So I would say also look at, the literacy rate anywhere where it's more literate. I mean, obviously people that are more well off read more, but there's also literacy rates. And if you can find an area where people are rich and the literacy rate is high, and then let's say also colleges, that's going to be good for books or whatever. But just generally applicable for finding good stuff is go where the rich people are, man.
yeah, absolutely. I've hit amazing scores in low income areas, but it's less often. Like the ratios are They are what you expect, and most people don't take advantage of that. The rooms sell for the same in the rich areas that they do for the low income areas, and I don't really know why. Once the TV shows came out, the rooms became obnoxious. They became way too overpriced. And then what happened is I adapted my business model. I went into unclaimed items. So they didn't have the cloud of television. They had the same metrics, only dealers. Some of my rules for when I pick out an auction now that I have a relatively big operation, I want to see huge lots. I want to see a lot of inventory, and I want to see way too much for a crowd. So I like pallet sales. I like um, instead of going to like a tool store, I would prefer to go to a distributor, someone that went out of business after 60 years and they have rooms full of stuff instead of a auction house that had laid out 30 tables and they're selling everything per piece. No, I want them to be auctioning off rooms at a time. And I want newbies wet behind the ears to be completely overwhelmed because then I don't have to worry about them. So
Because
then it,
mostly because the prices are high, but also because the volume of items is large, too large for an S10 pickup.
Yes. Yeah. So you need to, I have guys that work for me now and I have an infrastructure built and I can walk away for a couple weeks and do what I need to. And the place still runs the way that I want it. And that's something that's taken years to mature.
Do they buy
And
without you, or do you do all the buying?
I do all the buying. And when I buy very deep. So I bought, when it's very rare that at this point that I go to an auction and spend less than 5 grand. And I go to tool liquidator auctions, big electronics companies. If I'm buying, like last month, I bought a plumbing supply store. And when I say I bought it, it went out of business. I bought 38% of the inventory, which was more than any other buyer. And I worked that load for a month straight and we removed 68 pallets from the building. So I was only had to spend like 7 grand and
Where did you
my
sell all of that stuff?
so I have the best part about storage auctions, it taught me where to go with the stuff. So I have a triangle. We have eBay, Amazon, and local sales, which is comprised of markets, antique markets. You have Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, and those are how I divvy it up. If it's super rare and unusual, it goes on eBay. If it's Amazonable, it goes prime. If it's at all Amazon and it's got a sales rank of a mil or lower, even 2 mil, I'll work with and I'll get good money. I'll put it on Amazon and work it. And
Are
then,
you sending FBA? Or are you storing merchant?
so I will always send FBA if the numbers work. Recently, I've had some stuff that is not FBA friendly. Like I had some stuff that was 2 mil ranked. It was good and I would make sense, but with the storage fees, I can sell that to anyone. But if I send it into FBA, I'm kind of caught in between, and I got to do pallets. So I'm dealing in bulk and I have to send truck shipments with UPS into Amazon. So I don't take that decision lightly. And I absolutely do FBA. And I want to tell you, I didn't do FBA till 2 years ago when I started getting involved and watching you. And I think it was like a year and a half ago, I got motivated by something you said or did, and I did FBA. And
Awesome.
I have not looked back
Do you
since.
remember what video it was?
No, it was a video about books and just talking about how easy it was, how easy it was, how great it was, and I was like, you know what, man, we spent a lot of time shipping. I could show you guys like a tour. We have a photo booth over here and a shipping station, and like once we started doing FBA, listen, I mean, Reezy will tell you, if you're not doing FBA now and you have the right inventory and the metrics work, stop thinking about it and just do it because
Yep.
it works. And it saves you a lot of time because once you touch it, ship it, and move it, you're done. You walk, you know? So
Yeah,
I think
there's
that's great.
a whole lot of time saved, right? From me boxing up and shipping off 100 items right now versus me waiting for those 100 items to sell however they sell and then going to grab it and then pack it and ship it or go meet the person for the pickup or whatever the hell. Look about how
Yeah.
many times you're going to walk over to that shelf. 100
Yeah.
times.
And especially for low dollar items, like we had a dust mask. They were $14 a unit. We had cases and cases and cases of them. When my guy ships it, I make so little, but when we FBA'd them, they sold like that, and the numbers all worked. We were getting it was 20 per case. We were getting 260 a case, and after FBA fees, we were getting 160, and we didn't have to touch them. We
Wow.
touched them one time. Um, Anytime that there's a large volume, that's what I'm interested in, because going out, I can no longer go out to yard sales and do onesie twosies because it takes too long and my operation's too big. So I have to move truckloads at a time, and I have to do it with a big scope in mind. I will even make less money just to go out and only source 1 or 2 days out of the month. So, and that's at an auction, and then I work that load till it's dead. And after a while, we'll put it up, and then if it doesn't sell, keep moving through it till the space is gone. Old inventory comes to the front, new inventory goes listed out to the back, and we have a pretty good process now, and it's improving every day.
Nice. Yeah, dude, infrastructure is very important. I tell people all the time, like, one of the very first investments you should make into your business is to hire someone to help you so that you can work on growing the business more. Because whatever you particularly like to do in the business, and I would assume for most of us, it's probably buying. You should lean in on that so that you can acquire more inventory and be more productive and also be happier.
Mhm.
Because you make your money when you're buying, right? And it's like
Yeah.
if you were like, say for example, you buy something and that makes the business $1,000 profit, and that took you 1 hour, you might say your time is worth $1,000 an hour. Now, would you pay someone $1,000 an hour to wrap boxes and ship stuff off? No, hell no, you wouldn't. So you should be paying someone whatever, the going rate is, $10, $15 an hour to do that stuff for you so that you have more time to either grow your business or even just to not work, to enjoy your life and, reap the benefits of having a business.
Yeah. Since I've had help, scaling up has been a process that took a little longer than I anticipated, but it is incredibly worth it. To have the infrastructure and the funds to do it has been monumental, to be able to leave for a week and know that packages are being handled and the places are going to burn down and the guys know what they're doing. That's the biggest thing for me. Next week, if anybody watching right now is going to attend Brimfield, I'm going to be up there. I have a huge booth, and
What's
that's again,
Brimfield?
Brimfield is the largest antique market in the world.
Oh, nice.
They have over, I think it's either over between 1,000 and 2,000 vendors, and it's held over 7 days, and it's notably the biggest in the United States, and it's really well received. Booths are a lot of money, but they are worth it.
What's a lot of money?
Um, so a typical booth at a market near me costs like $100. This booth costs 1,200.
Okay.
So, it's I would say if you amortize the cost and everything, it's about 3 to 5 times more expensive than just a booth that I get on a weekend. So I like selling at markets. I'm actually shocked that no one talks about this yet. I find that a lot of the buyers or resellers go eBay, Amazon, or something like that, but no one talks about the third. What do you do with the stuff that isn't either?
Right.
Because I get a lot of that stuff. And then what we do is, if it's under $50 and it is not shippable, it goes to a market. All right. I make less, it's gone. I don't want to photograph and shoot and do all that stuff. My time is valuable and I need to move through it.
Yeah, no, I hear you totally, man. So I don't talk a lot about that, but I'm actually working on something right now that's talking about, I'm putting together a little guidebook, ebook, whatever you want to call it, about different ways to monetize books that you buy. Because in this business, whatever niche you're in, you come across stuff that you might not be able to sell online. And like, I'm super laser focused on online sales, but from day one, I was always aware of like, well, the key ingredient of this recipe is that you have access to goods for hella cheap. Now, they might not always be the things that you can sell on Amazon or eBay, but it's like you almost feel heartbroken leaving stuff sometimes because you're like, dude, they're $1 a piece and there's a whole barrel of them, or you're like a whole Gaylord of something for $1 a piece, and you're like, where am I going to sell these, soccer balls for $1 a piece? And they're like, say they're like off-brand soccer balls or something. They're not any brand that would sell on Amazon or eBay. It's like generic, right? But a decent soccer ball for $1, like if you have the right place to put that soccer ball, you should be able to sell it for $5, $3, $7. I'm not a soccer ball expert,
Hmm.
but those situations come across, and you get a gut feeling, right? And sometimes you just have to pull the trigger and then figure it out. One time I recall I bought an auction. I bought a whole Gaylord of book covers for textbooks. Now these were like stretchy spandex book covers, so that instead of your textbook looking all ugly, it would look, it would be all red or yellow or blue or whatever. They're for textbooks, book covers, and they were off brand. Like the main brand is called Book Socks, and these were like some off brand. Like I think they were Target store, got donated to the Goodwill, and it went up for auction. And I bought them for like pennies on the dollar, and then they just sat in my garage for months until I finally dealt with them, and I bundled them up into different packages on eBay, like 5-pack, 10-pack, 20-pack, and they sold like crazy. I made so much money on those. My average profit per unit was at least like $3, and I probably paid 5 cents a piece, and I was selling them in 5 and 10 packs. So it's just like, it's not always as simple as you think. There's always money. You just have to figure it out. So it's important to like keep all your little like buying channels wherever you got them, get at them.
Yeah, I completely agree. We absolutely, when you get a big lot, there are times that only 30% are eBayable. So what do you do with the remaining stuff? Like I see a lot of people like, oh, I usually will try to sell it at a market, and then if it doesn't sell at a market, it goes to the dollar table. If it doesn't go to a dollar table, we donate it. We move it forward. Time is money, and the more times I touch that product, the less I make. Um, Definitely, I also, a unique ability that gives me to buy, that allows me to buy well, because I have those channels. I'm not scared to dive in. So you'll see me get a little loose at an auction where I'll start buying because I have multiple channels to work through. So I'm not scared when I buy how I'm going to sell it. I'm more so like, yeah, I'm fearless when I buy. And now that we have the infrastructure and trucks, like I feel like I can't get hurt.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because anytime you're willing to go an extra mile, or you have an advantage over your competition, you have more money, you have more time, you have a bigger truck, you have infrastructure, you can do stuff that they can't do. Like I started selling on FBA the first year that it came out, and everybody was really slow to adapt to it, at least from what I noticed in the book niche. And so I finally got into it. No one got into it for a long time. And then they finally got in, but they really eased their way in because there's weight-based fees, right? So
Mhm.
they didn't want to send off anything heavy. And so for maybe about 2 to 3 years, I was able to take all the textbooks that nobody wanted because they were only selling on Amazon for like say $10 total, and they weigh 4 pounds, so it's not really worth it. But there was no FBA offers, or the FBA price was like 50. And so my competition would leave, and I would leave with like 10, 15 bags of books that they had all already gone through and considered junk. And then I was making, an average probably of $10 profit on every book that everyone else already scanned and was like, yeah, what am I going to do with this? But because I had that ability, I had another channel that they didn't know about, right? And so every little, like, it's like having a little weapon in your arsenal, every little other way you can sell something, and so
Mhm.
that's a huge advantage in any way that you can get an advantage, especially in those like that in the moment situation where it's me versus you or us five or whatever that's sitting there. That's super useful.
Speaking of advantages, when I became a Reezy fan for life, dude, I'm gonna tell you when it happened. FBA scan. You talked about the app.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. I watched something. You talked about FBA scan, an A seller tool. I went and downloaded it. Paid my dues, $40 a month. I downloaded it. Went to an auction where there was no cell phone reception. I had all the cheat sheets, and my competition was lost. I
Nice.
I
So what
cleaned
was
up.
this? Was this an auction that you could actually go in and look around before you actually?
So most of the auctions I go to would be like buildings or buildings going out of business, and then you have a preview. Another great auction tip, guys. I swear, if I meet more people that go to auctions and don't preview, I'm going to get upset. You have to preview what you're buying. You're going to spend hours and days with the product. Spend the extra 3 hours to know what you're buying. The preview time is when you get to touch, when you get to open boxes, when you get to count, when you get familiar, you get the layout. Those are like the pinnacle moment. I cannot tell you how many people show up late to an auction and do bad. You have
Yeah,
to get there early and do your homework.
it makes sense. Shout out to Lauren Cole City Loot for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that a lot, Lauren. Glad to have you. Yeah, I was asking because all of the auctions that I've been to, I mean, I've been to a bunch of Goodwill auctions, and those are pretty much non-relevant, really. But like storage locker auctions, they're like, no leaning in the locker, don't crust the front of the line, and I've had scenarios where I like my laser beam crossed the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
scanned a barcode from 3 feet away.
Absolutely. So with storage auctions, there's so many different types of auctions. You have like real estate auctions, you have lost property, unclaimed auctions, bankruptcy auctions you can touch and feel, and then storage auctions. You're not allowed to go in the room. You're not allowed to open boxes. Well, this is what I would say off the record, on the record. Go as far as they let you. Okay, really, like I inspect until I'm told to stop. I really
Right.
push the envelope, and people, I mean, the auction staff will often say to me, well, you can't go in those boxes. And I'll be like, well, this is preview time and this is when we do. So if you're not going to let me go in the boxes, may I please ask you, can you open the box and show me? And then most of the time they oblige, because if you're friendly with the staff. I also highly recommend when you get there early and you preview well and you chat up the auction staff. Okay, they're going to tell you more information than you could pay for. They will tell me information like who's the big buyers, what they think will go high, what they think they'll go low. There are times I tell them right out, I'm an online seller. What do you think would be worth it for me to buy? And they will walk me around the auction and show me everything that they looked at and spent 5 days working on, lotting and whatever. They'll tell me, hey, there's like 900 units in this, but we stopped counting after 300 because we were tired and Jeff had to eat. So we think there's 900 or 1,000 units, but they're going to sell it as a lot. So we think that's a good lot. And then they
Right.
sell it for one money, and you can reap the benefits because you were on time. Bring them coffee, bribe them with Dunkin' Donuts. Those are all the tips and tricks. It's not
Dude, the
cheap.
bribery goes hard in the game.
Absolutely. We would talk, we could hours conversation about that.
Do you give out Starbucks gift cards?
No, I give out things that they collect, and I find out what the auction staff likes to collect, and I try to give them meaningful gifts.
Yeah,
So
well, that's even better.
you can't really, I've never given cash direct on advice of tips. Only if they gave me a tip and they helped me load my truck would it be okay for me to tip them. Because then it's another thing is like you want to be careful with how that goes down, because it could look really bad if someone tipped you off and then you gave the guy money. It's just you're blurring the lines there. Also, another thing that novice buyers do a lot, guys, if you're at a public auction, you're not allowed to say, hey, Reezy, I like lot 171. Do you want to split it? It's not allowed. Okay.
That's collusion, yeah.
It's bidding collusion, and the auctioneers generally will give you a warning, but it's unprofessional. Please don't do it. You pull the guy aside and say, hey, I wanted to ask you a question and show you something. And then you do it when no one's looking. The auctioneers will often even say, like, buyer 415, you need to stop or you'll be tossed out of the sale. Please just do this outside. So they're working with you, but just be a little more professional. You guys can split lots, but I don't like splitting lots because I don't like dealing with other people and how it goes down and who's going to pick up what and sharing money. It gets ugly really fast. So I would just prefer that I buy something for me and then I don't speak to anybody else about it. And that's just the way that good business is conducted. So
So let's say you've done a lot of auctions. I imagine that you weren't allowed to really preview before, right? Like you weren't allowed to touch the stuff or look in the boxes, right? And you've had
yes,
some success.
yes.
What are some kind of tips that you can offer people? Because I notice things like, or at least in my head, I'm like, okay, well, the boxes are nice. Like it's all the same kind of boxes. They bought boxes to box this stuff up. So maybe it's worth a little bit more, and I know people are big on the dust, or just different things. Like what are the telltale signs of possible profit in an unseen, unpreviewed auction?
All right, so I'm going to give you the order from least desirable to most desirable. The least desirable is a room that looks like someone was living in it. That would be the least desirable. The second above that is black trash bags, because it signals that someone had to leave in a hurry and they didn't have any planning involved with their move. So black trash bags generally would be a fast move and often can be evictions. So evictions would sometimes use black bags. Sheriffs would take their stuff. By law, they put it in a storage unit, and then
Right.
over the 3 months, they
And
give up and they
rich people don't get evicted.
rich people don't get evicted. The third I would say would be when the homeowner packed it, and those would be like, used boxes. They have like a hamburger box that was reused, and it's like a mom and pop who packed those boxes themselves. And then you have the next level is storage tubs. If someone invested the money in storage tubs and they stacked it high and neat, I would say that's above. And the cream of the crop, the one everybody wants, pay attention, moving company boxes. Those are the highest, most premium demand that I would pay through the nose to get. If they had the money to pay a moving company, they have money.
And what kind of companies are those?
So, like locally, I'm not talking about U-Haul boxes. I'm talking about printed boxes from a XYZ moving company that it was professionally moved, and that by the way that the boxes were taped. If a moving company tapes those boxes, they're going to do a really good job taping. They don't just do one. They wrap it. The way mirrors are boxed, it's very obvious that a moving company did it. It'll be wrapped with moving blankets, double wrapped. Those are like really telltale signs that a moving company did it. And then those are the way that the room is packed. And then on top of that, you have like business inventory in terms of value to me. And then like when they do it themselves, when they pack the room themselves, and then when the entire room looks like it was thrown together in like 15 minutes. Those are my rankings. And then the size of the room, like if we had to build the chart, it would be like size of the room and value goes up like this. And then where it falls on the scale is dependent on the outline that I just did. How nice is it packed? Was it done with a moving company? Did they box it themselves? And was it done with trash bags? And then the third chart is where in the neighborhoods are they from? So in Long Island, the North Shores are the crazy ones where all the money is. The South Shores are less desirable. So that's like the metrics in my head when I see a room. And then the thing that you can't put a metric to, your gut feeling.
Okay, what about if it just looks really clean?
I
What
love
is it?
clean rooms. I love clean rooms. Absolutely. Because here's what it comes down to. People that keep their things in nice shape, generally you'll be able to sell more. One of the best clean rooms I had, we made like me and a partner, it was $400, it was $200 a piece. I made 4,800. He made another 45. So it was like $400 to 10 grand in about 3 weeks. And that room was immaculate. Okay. American Girl dolls, Yankee seats, gold albums, World War II, like gold coins, World War II albums. I'm getting excited because I'm getting all these flashbacks from when I bought it. And that room, 98% of everything was saleable. All right. When
Nice.
you get into a dirty room, that number can go to half. Okay. Dirty couches. I don't like buying rooms with pets. You can see the furniture chewed up. You can smell the furniture have a animal odor to it. And those are the rooms that I kind of stay away from. And lastly, if you're not going to get a clean room, get an old dusty room that hasn't been messed with. And also,
So like thick dust on the floor, no
oh yeah,
footprints.
oh that would be amazing. That would get my reseller juices going, man. If you can easily look at whether a box has been messed with, if it's sat for 2 years, you'll see dust, and you'll see a completely underrated comment: single tape boxes. Boxes that were sealed one time and never opened. Okay. There's
Meaning
also,
you can see like the tape hasn't been pulled off, and which always
yeah,
takes part of the box off.
yeah. And there are auctions. We're dealing mostly with storage auctions for this. There are auctioneers who will go through the rooms and cheat, but there's still money to be made at those auctions because those guys don't know everything. I've
What do
pulled
you
the
mean
lead.
by cheat? They take out certain stuff?
They're fraudulent. So they listen, auctioneers in general, no disrespect to my local auctioneers, but I would say that almost all of them do some shady business. In one way or another, auctioneering is generally a shady
So like when
business.
when you see them cut the lock, they might have cut it before and then just put another one on there.
That's possible, but it's more to do with not licensed auctioneers, but when say for instance there's a local moving company by me that goes into the rooms and they rearrange rooms. I mean, like an outright fraud. So they will go in and get all the good stuff. They'll sell it on the weekend as a yard sale, and then at the end of the week they have an auction in which you get there and there's a bunch of stuff that's been gone through, boxes that were just like shoved together from 8 different rooms, and they were selling a bunch of garbage. That's the worst. The best is like public storage or like some of the professional joints. Those are the most desirable.
So are you generally looking for smalls or are you looking for furniture? Like if you open it up and there's, a couch and two washing machines, are you bummed out? Are you stoked? Like what's the deal?
If it's a couch and 2 washing machines, I don't want to be bothered. When I had a thrift shop, I would like that room, but now that I don't want furniture and I don't want appliances. I want sealed tape boxes. I want business inventory rooms, and I want things that I identify immediately with converting into cash quickly.
So you do buy antique furniture though?
Only when it comes with other stuff. I don't hunt it out. I'd have to like really, really like it for me to buy a piece of antique furniture. I'm going up to Brimfield with antique furniture, dining room sets, gorgeous stuff, but it's only because I got it with a bunch of silver or I got it with a big moving load.
Right. So what do you keep anything? Do you got a nice collection of stuff yourself?
I collect only one genre. I collect really, really small silver trinkets. These are small figurines, extremely finely detailed and made out of silver because I'm a huge silver bull. I love precious metals, and those are the things that I collect. I have like small animals. They all have to be like about that big, and my entire collection can fit in a shoebox. And I'll tell you why. Because I'm surrounded by volume, that what I collect is tiny.
Yeah, that makes sense. What are some of the best things or most interesting things that you've ever found?
Um, Among the best things, this is a really good question. All right. Before I go further, I'm going to ask you guys, please comment and like and subscribe. And we're going to do the $100 giveaway in about 20 minutes. To answer your question, have I found anything interesting or cool? Was that the question?
Yeah, no, like what is the most interesting or cool things or valuable? Like give us some of the juicy stuff that you've found. And this would also be the time to talk about, the used condom that you found.
So I found one room that came up. This was a storage room before the shows. I spent $1,000 on the room. The door went up. It was a 10 by 10. When you get to do storage auctions, this is how you think, like size of the room, where it was, and like everything inside. 2 couches opened up. There was like 2 couches side by side, and right in the center was a gun case, and everybody saw it. I had to pay $1,000 for the room, and I opened it up, and it was 3 guns inside, and they were immaculate. They were some really cool rifles, 2 shotguns and a rifle, and there alone was like $1,200, and then everything else in the room was mint. It was a newlywed couple who got divorced, and they put their stuff in storage and walked away.
Is $1,000 typical for a gun case, or is that the price that goes when people are used to them being empty when they open it?
No, so um, to
I
end,
have no idea. I've never even touched a real gun, so I have no idea what guns are
yeah.
worth.
Most guns are worth anywhere between, I want to say, like the average gun's worth between 150 and 300, and then they can get all the way up to like 1,000, 2,000. If you found a $5,000 gun, like they almost guarantee would get that out of storage before you got your hands on it. Um, so it when if you see a gun safe, the room goes between 1,000 and 1,500 minimum, because you just know that that's a $1,000 safe that on the secondhand market can go for 250 or 300, and then you just calculate what's inside. People have, and those are the gambles. You can buy a storage auction with guns inside, and you can buy one with an empty safe. And I've seen both sides of the coin. I've seen them both. I've been part of that. You get one. Some of my worst flips a year and a half ago, I bought one particular lot at a police auction. I bought two fake watches for $2,000.
Rolex.
No, I would have known better with the Rolex, but it was a Breitling watch that looked really authentic and an Omega Seamaster, and between the two, it would have been like $8,000. So $2,000 seemed reasonable to me, and that was a police auction I trusted too much. And when I went back in, they looked at me and they said, "You know the rules. Um, as is, where is, no guarantees expressed or implied. That's it." So those are among the worst. I was escorted out by the police and just kind of told to hush up and stop. Um, and one of my better finds, I have found one of the better finds. I bought just a box at an auction with white horses in it, and these were Lippenzaner white horses. They were porcelain from Vienna, Austria, and they turned out. I paid $80 for 8 of them, and I sold them for over 4,000 within a week.
Nice.
Yeah, that was like one of my favorite flips. Just because it was cash, it was like instant. Like the guys
Right.
knew what they were, and that was it. And one of the most interesting rooms I bought, it came down to, yeah, here's your juicy story. It was a room, it was a 5x10 in Syosset, which was a nice neighborhood. We got it. It belonged to a small frame wealthy white woman who had retired, and we found all her like really early Barbies. She had like really early Barbies. We sold them all for like 400 or 500, and she had wonderful, beautiful vintage outfits, and it was like a really good dynamic room. We're walking out and we got like the last bag, and my partner at the time's walking, and he trips and drops a blue suitcase in the middle of the parking lot and burst open a giant assortment of sex toys. Huge amount. Okay.
If we weren't
Lingerie.
demonetized yet, we are now.
It was, I'm not going to get raunchy. It was interesting. He took one, suction cupped it to my car as a joke, and we cleaned it up before any of the staff was able to like look at us. But it was the story that probably got me the baggage battles job. And Tony was dying when I told him the full unedited version of that story.
So what table did you take those to?
Oh God, I gave them to my partner, and he said, "I know what to do with these." And I said, "I don't want to know anything about them. I
I
never
don't even want to know
Yeah,
what.
I don't want to know. Please never speak of this again." And now we'll just joke and say, "You remember the little blue suitcase?"
Oh
And
my
that's
god,
that's our inside joke that now hundreds of people online are gonna know.
the blue suitcase.
Yeah.
You now you need to buy a blue suitcase.
Oh my God, it was a vintage. Like I remember, it's amazing memory like that I have with particular events like that. Like I remember everything about that. And it was all in all, not only was it entertaining, it was a very good room. Um, and the storage auctions, I hear, like, I haven't been to a storage auction in over like 2 years, but I bought hundreds, and I still literally know everybody in the game on Long Island, especially because I had a TV show. Like everyone talks to me because they want to be in the know, and I love conversing with everybody. So at the market once a week, sometimes I do the market not for the $1,000 a weekend. I do it because I love talking to people and meeting people, and I get to know everything of what's going on
Right,
with the
reconnect with the
circuit.
boys.
Absolutely. I mean, you see the auction buyers during the week, and then you see them on the weekend with what they got. It's like kind of fun, and also something that I really have enjoyed since the reseller community has blown up. We used to kind of be black sheep, if you will. Like because we were dealing secondhand goods, we're going to yard sales, and I've been embracing the community because these are my people. I love reselling, and none of us feel weird. And Coal City Loot, the girl who tipped you before, I was having breakfast with her at the reseller fam. So she was
Oh,
like,
nice.
we went and had sushi. It was a good time.
Dude, sushi breakfast sounds amazing.
Yeah. I could have sushi anytime.
Dude,
Doesn't
sushi's
even,
my favorite new thing. Like pizza and sushi, and I think sushi might be on top just because I'm trying to be more healthy lately.
yeah. Hey, Rick, how many names we got so far? I see pages going. Guys, we're doing the $100 giveaway, cash, PayPal. All right. And just for you guys tuning in, please like this video and give us Reezy a boost.
Should I
And
open this box while we wait for people to comment some questions for you?
yeah, absolutely,
All right,
man. Go
guys. So
to
I'm gonna
town.
open a box. Mark probably mailed me a box of a box of sex toys. So
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
open this. Hold on.
It's-
It's not a light blue suitcase. I can
How
tell
does
you.
how does the box smell? Can you smell anything? That's always a test we use, you know?
Smells like Badussy. All right, let me open this thing. Hold on, I gotta move my microphone. Let's see if I can. Okay, we got some bubble. We got a "If you ain't flipping, you slipping" baggage battles card signed by Mark. We got a nice note from Mark that says, "Thank you for welcoming me on the show and for the ample amount of information I've absorbed from watching your videos. Included, you will find a box of gifts. You'll find one of my custom hats and t-shirt. Next up, I've included a pink Travel Channel hat for Luna. Lastly, there's an awesome Amazon hat that would make for a good prop in that upcoming video. Now, look, I know you're in love with flat brim hats, but I encourage you to come to the curved side. It's never happening, bro. It's never happening. Those are dad hats, bro. I mean, I know I'm a dad, but you'd understand if you know where I grew up at, like in a surf town. Like people always wear straight hats, and they even take the front and bend it up like
Oh
this.
man, absolutely.
Like it's some total beach culture stuff. Let me get to the stuff in here. So we got this pink travel hat for Luna Travel Channel. That's what's up. Shout out to the Travel Channel. We got a Mark Meyer here Flex Fit. Nice. Dude, I like that branding. I'm gonna have to come up on that status right there. Let's see. Ooh, this is nice. This Amazon hat is chilling. Amazon customer service. So I get to put this on and then I can be totally like not helpful. Like when I wear this hat, anything you want to ask me from anybody is just you're not going to get the right answer that you want, and it's going to take you 45 minutes. And then I'm going to be like, "I'm sorry, sir, I don't know what you're talking about. We're going to have to escalate this case." That's
Oh my
awesome.
god.
I like
Yeah.
these kind of hats though. I wear those like when I go to the beach or when I'm skateboarding. And dude, if you're listening to this on a podcast, I'm opening a package right now, and I'm getting stuff. So it doesn't really translate well to audio format, but just bear with me. And then I got one of your shirts, and I really like the color on this one, dude.
Yeah, man. It
Oh,
matches that background of yours.
yeah, it's tight, man. I like it. Is it large? That's a
It's
medium. It'll work. It'll work. I gotta lose some weight, anyways, guys. Let's be honest. I need to eat more sushi and less pizza. Thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate it, dude.
You're welcome, man. I appreciate the content. And shout out to some of the other Reezy talks. The Amazon Don one was amazing.
Oh, with
And
Chris Green, you like
oh
that?
man, I love watching you guys talk about like the old school Amazon and eBay. I was loving it, man.
Dude, he was killing me when he was telling me about selling drill sets from Home Depot, like buying the 3-piece, breaking it up, selling those on FBA.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that was those times, people were slow to get into FBA, and then they were all worried about weight. And he's over here mailing off 20-pound drills to FBA when everyone else was still scared.
yeah. I got a story for you. One thing, if you're watching this, I really want you guys to know this business changes every several years, and you need to make changes, and you need to make like adaptations because every time that it comes, whether it be like Shoegate you guys talk about, or the move to online to reselling, and like for me the disappearing of like the antique markets and the emergence of online. This is something that happened to me that I like freaked out about. I'm at an auction and this I'm at an auction and most auctions are filled with older people. And I'm sitting there and the Amazon chime goes off for a sale. So I go to grab my phone and this woman sitting next to me who looks like she's pushing 70 grabs my arm and says, "Oh no, honey, that's me." I was like, "What? This is outrageous." I was like so mad, okay? Because Amazon's gotten easier and easier and certain things are making it harder, but man, the barrier to entry got lower. And all of a
What's
sudden,
this Amazon chime you're talking about? You mean an eBay cha-ching?
no. I turned off the notification, but when I sold something, I used to have the Amazon seller app there was a noise that came
I
across.
don't think so, man. I've never heard of this noise. There might be a sound for your email when you got a sold ship now notification.
Maybe that's what it was. Long story short, man, she grabbed me and said, "Oh no, honey, that's me."
Your grandma outsold you, bro.
Bro, and I was like, I gotta. That's when I was like, all right, that's it. And I was like, FBA scan. I'm going to places that don't have noise or like don't have reception. I was upset about it, man. And you know what? It changed the game. And like every time we step up, if there's a new FBA program, you guys got to be in it. You got to be first to market because it changes a lot. And every time it's evolving and it's getting a lot harder in certain elements, and the barriers of entry I find are coming down a little
Dude,
bit.
it's exactly why I'm really bullish on merch by Amazon. So I don't know if you're on that yet or not, Mark,
Uh,
but you should be.
I'm not a graphic designer, and I respect the hell out of you guys for doing it. I
Dude,
just
I'm not a graphic designer either. So currently all I'm actually doing is strategizing and I'm telling my designer what kind of shirts that I need her to make. So she just did a bunch of Father's Day shirts. Obviously Mother's Day is like 2 weeks away or a little less. So if you guys, didn't get your wives something or your mom, get on that. But try to design out like 90 days before an event or a holiday or whatever. But otherwise, it's just like similar to like product research on Amazon. If you were trying to decide like what kind of like spice grinder to private label or whatever, you just look at the shirts that are already selling and then go, okay, well, these soccer shirts are selling well. How can I fit in there and can I get some money in the soccer shirt niche? And then how can I make that design better with a similar phrase? Or do I have any original ideas for phrases? But basically, I just make a spreadsheet of shirts that I want made, and then someone else is uploading them and doing keyword research. Like the only thing I really do is I verify the designs before they get uploaded to make sure they're not trademarked and there's no spelling errors because my VAs are not English speaking. So there's oftentimes like I made a shirt. There was some shirts I saw today. It was like my favorite people calls me daddy, and I was like, well, this has to say call. Like it can't say calls, like if it said person it could say calls, and they're like, oh, okay. So but yeah, don't let that stop you, man, because like you said, this is a fairly new thing for Amazon. I think it's been out for a little over 2 years. And I think it's going to get insanely big. I think we're going to arrive at a point where a lot of clothing companies are having Amazon make all of their clothing, to where like how Amazon's putting retail companies out of business, Amazon's going to put clothing companies out of business if they don't decide to let Amazon produce the garments for them.
I agree. I think the international market is the biggest drive with the merch. One of the reasons I would get into it, because the ability to just outsource all those designs to Colombia and then just start a print-on-demand factory in Colombia and do that is amazing.
Right.
Um, I will look into it. I don't have a VA yet, and listening to you guys all the time talk about it, it's on my to-do list. It's on the desk right
Dude,
over there.
so I have a few VAs. I have a designer who makes the designs. I pay her 450 a month. I get at least 300 designs from her. And then
Wow.
I have another one I pay 250 an hour to upload designs. She can do 100 in an hour. So
Oh
that's
my
pretty
God.
cheap for me. And then for YouTube, I have a video editor and I pay him $4 an hour. So I would love to, and that's like a high pay rate for the Philippines for creative work, right? As much
Mhm.
as I would like to do it myself because I enjoy it so much, it takes way too long, and I don't have like 10 hours to just sit down and edit a video. And paying him $4 an hour is just too cheap to ignore.
Wow. Yeah, it's on my to-do list and I'm making progress. In the meantime, if you guys want to make $100 in an hour, this is your last chance. If you ain't flipping, you slipping.
Get in
Put
there.
that in the comments. We're going to do the drawing in about 7 minutes. We're going to print them up and do them live. And yeah, appreciate it. And hit me with some more questions, Reezy. And if you guys have questions, now's the time to put them in, and we'll save some time at the end to answer them.
Someone in the chat is saying there is a sound on Amazon app for merchant fulfilled item selling.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
I'm not
It
making it
must have
up.
happened after I switched to 100% FBA. I've
Yo,
never
like
heard of
I,
that.
I was sweating thinking like I was wrong about that, but no, like I remember hearing the Amazon chime and being like, this little lady, like, oh my God. I don't blame if they get the eBay noise, but the fact that it was an Amazon noise drove me crazy because they had all Amazon stuff there I couldn't buy because it went too high.
Right,
Because
right.
once the barcode scanners came out, it made it hard, you know? Like we used to have to really do research and know your product. One thing I'd like to say is there's a lot of talk about Amazon if there's a really high sales rank that it's not a good product. I don't go by that. I have turned 2 and 3 million sales rank items into good 100,000 K products. And what I've done is I've added keywords sometimes it allows you. I've sometimes changed the photos. We shoot on white backdrops. Sometimes the descriptions are wrong. Sometimes there's a lot of errors, and other times my lister used to like take an item and be like, oh well, it's on Prime for $46, and I'm like, yeah, but it's a $19 doorbell. So it has a 3 mil rank because no one cares because it's twice what Home Depot has it at. So drop it into the price point where it makes sense because it's just a doorbell for 20
Yeah, like
bucks.
$27 or something.
I have what we call them, we revive the listings. So
Yeah,
we
yeah, it makes
we
sense.
we have done that, especially because I'll get products that I have like 120 count on. And then the other technique that we've been working that works really good is not only do we ask for the 5 stars like everybody, but I'll write a handwritten note and I'll give free gifts in on those first couple sales. And I'll ask them specifically for product reviews. And that has made a world of difference in how well that sells. The moment you start to build those ratings.
And you're vested in that because you have more than one quantity.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And because
That
the
makes
auctions
sense.
I buy in bulk, you know, I've revived dead listings from nothing, marked them down to cost, got them up and running, got a good sales rank, got some ratings, and then increased the price to where it should be, and made hundreds and thousands of dollars, not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands of dollars on product lines because the other Amazon sellers were like, oh, it's a 3 million sales rank, nobody wants
Right.
it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I always talk about just for the record, I think that might be against Amazon terms of service to put something in the packaging requesting reviews. I think the
Yeah.
only thing that's allowed to be in the package is the item. And if the item itself came with, like if you sell a Samsung TV, if you're Samsung, you put all kinds of Samsung crap in there to where when people open it, there's a go to Samsung.com to sign up for our email list, and here's a 20% off Netflix coupon or whatever the hell. But you can't put your own thing in there. But I mean, all that being said and done, I'm not, it's your business. You run it how you want to run it, and whatever you think makes sense for your business is what you should do. I will just say be careful. That's
Mm-hmm.
it. But rule of thumb for me is always when I break or bend rules is, will this create a better experience for my customer? Because we all know how automated Amazon is. So if the answer is it will create a better customer experience, or at least it won't create an unhappy customer, then I would probably do it because Amazon's not going to ever hear about it, right? It's
Yeah.
super automated. They only hear about it if your customer is unhappy. So if your customer is happy, you have nothing to worry about. That's our job, is make our customers happy. So, but yeah, reviving dead listings, or I always tell people like supply affects, obviously everyone knows supply and demand, but they forget about that when they look at an item and it has a bad rank. Well, if you see an item and it has a bad rank, but the supply is not good, the supply is affecting the sales, and that's why the rank is bad. And it might be an overall lack of supply on an item, or it might be just, like for example, shoes. You're selling some shoes. The rank is 500,000, but there's no FBA offers. To me, I'm always going to send in that product, at least a little bit of it, if not a lot, because I know that most people buy FBA for one. And if there's no FBA, that's going to affect the sales rank dramatically because people aren't buying, right? So a bad rank with a bad supply could actually be a good rank when the supply is good. But a bad rank with a good supply is actually a truly bad product from a supply scenario. But as Mark mentioned, there could be other reasons why it's not selling. You could have terrible pictures. People who sell a lot on Amazon will notice that sometimes pictures on products change. And I think sometimes competitors are trying to do this to ruin your sales. So they might take your product and change the picture to a different color, and then your customer buys it, and then they complain because they got a different color than what they ordered. There's all kinds of stuff, but taking better pictures, adding keywords on the back end, which you can do. These aren't ads or CPC or anything. Every product on Amazon has keywords in the back end. Most people watching my channel probably sell books, so they don't know about that or deal with that. But if you have an item that is at risk of not selling, or it's going to take longer to sell, you go to manage inventory, you edit the product details, and you go and add some keywords. You can do some basic research, probably from like private label YouTube channels about how to build product pages so that you can understand how to make a product page look better. And if you want to know what a good product page looks like, just go to any category and find like the best selling stuff in that category, like a yoga mat, a basketball, whatever. And then just go look and see how they have it. They have like bold words in the front, like it's not just one sentence of a description. It's like a whole page length of different paragraphs with lines, with like action words, like, you'll have more free time. And then that's all in bold because you don't have to use a vice grip to open this jar, or whatever it is. It's like copywriting, right? You have to sell people on the benefits of the product, not necessarily say, this is a 3-pound book. It's 628 pages. We like relive history through whatever, you have to call to people's emotions with your copy. But all these things can help you sell an item much better. You don't have to just accept it for face value. And this kind of calls back to what we were saying before about finding items and you got them and it's a good deal, but like on paper, it just doesn't look like it's going to sell, but you have a hunch, maybe, and you got it for cheap. And maybe you looked it up on eBay and you said, well, I can't find this same one, but other faucets are selling for this price. So this one might sell. A lot of people get caught up on if there's not the exact model number that they're looking for, or if it's not, they're not understanding the marketplace as much as they are just looking up, like a robotic fashion for that specific product.
The one thing, so I'll completely add on what you just said. You need to, not only do you guys need to understand sales rank and understand the Amazon marketplace and the eBay space, but you also need to understand the product. I see often my competitors who merely go UPC rank and think nothing else. And it's a lot deeper than that, guys. As we discussed rank, you saw there's a lot of dynamics that affect rank. But I would not be deterred purely by just one metric in the Amazon system. I would also understand that, hey, this hasn't been around for 3 years and I have a dead stock supply of them. So the sales rank is particularly old and not really available. So can I buy it at a good price? Can I sell it at a good price? Just because someone's saying it's $49, guys, get it back down to like where it's reasonable. If that item was on eBay, you'd be fighting for lower prices. But for some reason, there's a misconception that Amazon price is the set price. We should just all argue over a penny. And I find that I will move the marketplace. $39.99, no terrible sales rank, and then we'll drop it to $19, and then I'll start selling them, and then slowly raise them over time. I do the same thing with eBay. I want to add one more thing to the auctions. Not only do I want you guys to arrive early, I want you to preview. I want you to be well rested. I want you to be in your game. Another great technique: play your strategy. Do not get sidetracked. That is the auctioneer's job, is to make you spend more money. Know your limits. Know how far you want to go. Don't get auction fever, which is a typical term for getting caught up in the auction. And lastly, the most simple metric that everyone doesn't seem to understand. If the auction has 700 lots, lot 100 through 300 will sell for what it should be. 300 to 500 will sell for a discount, and lot 500 to 700 will be outrageously cheap.
Because everybody spent their bank already.
Everyone filled up their Toyota Corollas and SUVs, and heavy hitters like me are there to buy. The time to buy is when the buying's good, not when you need inventory. So
Right.
for me, I stock up when those prices are in my advantage, in my favor, and I don't ever get distracted by what may happen. Or Johnny got his for $6 a unit, and I should have got that. Stay the course, play your game, fill your warehouse with the inventory that you want.
So you said you average about 5,000 spending per auction. How much do you take with you?
Um, so my average is probably 10,000 in auction, but I don't spend less than 5,000 in an auction. Um,
Have you ever felt unsafe having 10,000 cash on you?
yes, but there are some ways around that. So there are some auctions that only allow cash. Generally, government sales only deal in cash. Other auctions are a little more business-like. You can bring cashiered checks, like bank checks. So I'll go to a bank and if I need 10 grand, I'll go to a Chase and I'll say, hey, I need four $2,500 checks, printed cashier checks for this auctioneer. As soon as you start bidding, they generally take a deposit the moment you start bidding. So they'll come up to me like, we need $150 for your deposit. And I just hand them a $2,500 check and say, don't bother me.
Nice.
So, and they don't. They totally know that I'm good to go. That deposit means I could spend 10 grand and before they have to come ask for money. So I use cashier checks as a fund of not to carry cash, and I definitely don't want to say how much I could carry. But for the big sales, like the police sales, I feel safe carrying that kind of cash because you're surrounded by police. I have at least two guys with me, and you're not going to rob me at a police auction and from the bank and shit like stuff.
Right.
You get what I'm saying.
Are you like a licensed gun owner?
I'm not willing to say. Here in New York, we have concealed carry permits, and you know, it's not the Wild West in New York, but I grew up in New York, so that's
Right.
what I'll say. You know, I have
Right.
guys that stay with me, and I definitely am not too worried about most people.
Yeah, I just the way I think about it is I think a lot of the guys that go to auctions are older, and I just picture them, they got a wad of cash and a gun and they're just waiting for you to try and jack them.
Yeah, well, the good news is that the person that would be jacked is the auctioneer, because some of them hold 100K at a time.
Oh
So
wow.
they'll have sheriffs and bailiffs there on guard duty because they hold so much cash. I mean, one auctioneer strictly deals in cash and he adds everything up by hand, which takes hours. But I would just say, guys, pick your bets, play it smart. You know, do your research. That's the best way to make the most money. If you're going to spend a week with the product, you should spend 3 hours with it before it becomes yours.
Right.
So you know, just don't buy my biggest scores are those that I researched, and my worst flips are those that I bought on the fly. And that's just something I live by. Um, and there are times I get to the end of the sale and I say, why did I buy that? And that's because, and I ask myself, was it on your sheet? And it wasn't.
Hmm.
So, you know, you need to come up with those numbers when you're cool, calm, and collected and not in heat of the moment. I've been doing this 12 years and I got shill bidded last week by an auctioneer. Shill bidding is when an auctioneer is in a room and he says, this guy is interested. Reezy likes lot 57. All right, Reezy, you got it for 100, 100, 100, 200, 200. In the back, 225, 220, 250, 250. 275 in the back, 300. Reezy, you want it? You want it? All right, 325 in the back, in the back. And then you look back there and there's nobody back there. The auctioneer just knew you were interested and he played you. And
Right.
dude, I've been doing this 10 years and I
Because
got
they make a percentage, right? The auctioneer is not always part of the store. Like some storage lockers or whatever have their own auctioneers, right? Or
mhm.
no? Some do,
No,
right?
absolutely. Storage auctions have their own auctioneers that come by, but they're licensed. You have to have a license to be an auctioneer. Not,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
you can't
So
just pretend to be one.
the guy that I've seen at the auctions that I've went to, which is usually him, or if it's ran like by some guy that seems like probably not licensed auctioneer or whatever, but the licensed auctioneer that comes with the speaker and the megaphone, and his wife has the money and pay the lady or whatever. I seen her on Storage Wars a couple times, or them, the couple or
Yeah.
whatever.
I mean, everything what you're watching happens, dude. There's no, you know, the people are live. It's It's a good time. I get my best flips at auctions because I can buy a lot in one shot. I don't have to drive to 11 different yard sales to get a half a van. I can go to one auction and buy 5 vans. So those are the reasons I do that. Rick's going to pass me the names to those lucky contestants. I'm going to read off some. How many pages you got? He's got 3 pages. All right. I'm going to show you guys. These are some of the pages. Reezy, can you see the names at all, or is it like
Yeah, I see him.
blocked out? All right, and then I'm gonna chop them, and then we're gonna put them in a hat and have a good time. All right, it's me, Jack, Rap Six, Aaron, Bark Knuckles, Mark Rogers. All right, we want to do
Dude, I'm super
transparency.
excited.
I want to do transparency, make it fair for
Did you get
everybody.
my name on there? I commented. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
I'm just
uh,
kidding.
Beth O'Donovan, Steven, Full Melt Mike. I like that name. All right, so Rick, could you chop them? All right.
Chop and screw those real quick for us, Rick.
All right, so those match, and then chop that. We're gonna do it. No, this is live, guys. We want full transparency. If you win, this is what I need you guys to do. You need to email Mark Meyer here at Gmail, and then I'll look on my phone, and then I can send the PayPal live. So
And I'm gonna type that out real quick. So it's Mark.
Cool. Yeah.
Here,
like this.
here
Yes.
at Gmail.
And then we're gonna take this hard hat. Will work good.
We're doing the auction out of an army hat or the raffle.
So no, it's a hard hat. I hurt my head last year on a job. I bought a truck shop in Brooklyn, and on the last day, I smashed my head into a beam and got an 8-centimeter hit on my head, and I got 9 staples in my head.
Ouch.
So from there on out, when I'm working, I'm wearing a hard hat. All right, let me get some of these. All right, so we're chopping them up, guys. We got all the names. All right, and then we're gonna put them off. I'm just gonna crumple them up and put them in the hat for fun. There's a lot of names. I didn't think there'd be this many people, but is there any questions from the fans we could answer?
I saw at least one question. Let's see.
Oh, all right. So Rick is a master producer, and he has already put up one question from Thrift Shop, Gift Shop, Reezy, Resells, and Mark. Sorry if I missed anything related to this, but do you think there's a market for pre-loved small ticket items like an online thrift store? So I think that there's a better market for, you said pre-loved smalls, antique markets, thrift markets. Those type flea markets are made for smalls, and I have a lot of vendor friends who make $300, $400, $500 a day selling at a local market. If you guys are on Long Island, you can come out to Belmore Flea Market. That's where I sell on the weekends, and there are some vendors that make $2 or $3 grand a day, more towards my side, and then there are vendors that make $300 or $400 for setting up. It's a long day, but there's plenty of money, guys. eBay is not the whole game. There is a world of opportunity out there, and eBay is one part of the pedestal. Amazon's one part, and the markets. I would love to talk about Facebook Marketplace. I think it's the most undervalued, not talked about thing right now. Oh my God! Like Craigslist used to be it, and Craigslist is good. Facebook is better now. It totally is. Like,
yeah, it's way better. So, and even my wife sells stuff on Craigslist, which I'm not saying she's not a hustler, but it's just like it's super easy, right? Like to be able to like someone messages you and then you can click on their profile and you can see that they're a real dude. They live down the street. They surfboard, they have like a picture of other humans with them smiling. So you're like, okay, he's not like, at least somebody likes him, right? He's not a complete loser, right? Because that's my biggest pet peeve with Craigslist is I call them Craigslist bullshitters. People will say they're going to come, then they won't even show up. And even worse, they won't even call you to tell you they're not going to show up. So here you're waiting a half hour for someone to come, or maybe even worse, you modified your whole day's schedule so you could be there at 3 p.m. to meet this bullshitter, and they didn't even show up or call you. And you're just sitting there, 20 minutes after they were supposed to be there, like, where the hell is this guy? A lot less of that with Facebook Marketplace.
I agree also because there's a face with it. People trust it more. And if you hit the right dynamic on Facebook Marketplace, your post can explode. I posted I've been selling vehicles a lot. I got a new trailer. I sold my old trailer. I moved through 3 trailers and 3 trucks within like 2 years. And I've been using Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist, and I sold them all through Facebook. Not because I wanted to, but just because that's where they sold. It was like 6 to 1. So if I had one guy on Craigslist hit me up, I had 6 people on Facebook hit me up. And it was just a better ratio. And I would always recommend guys write really good ads. Like you're going to sit there and try to sell a vehicle or something expensive. Like, take 10 minutes and write a solid ad. Offer dimensions and stuff. Save yourself time. If you post a piece of furniture and you don't put dimensions, you're just going to deal with 10 people asking you what size it is. So just do the homework.
Right.
People
just similar. Take your pictures, show your flaws, include your measurements, reduce your workload. But I want to point out the fact that Facebook Marketplace is so awesome. I feel like in the future they could modify it in a way, maybe trying to make some money off the sales, or making it so that there's paid promotion so you can promote your Facebook Marketplace items, or just something. I wouldn't put it past the Zuckerberg to try and think of a way to monetize that service, because it's clearly going to put Craigslist into the ancient territory zone. Craigslist is already Craigslist a long time ago was the place where you would post job ads. Now that's kind of terrible. Most people post job ads on Indeed, and then Craigslist is a thing of the past. If you want to hire some crackheads, post your job on Craigslist. That's what's going to happen. But Facebook Marketplace is huge, guys. Don't pass it up. I know people that they're monetizing their not old, but books that they can't sell on eBay or Amazon. They just line up shelves in their garage, and they basically run a bookstore out of their garage where it's only open on let's say Saturday 8 to noon, and they advertise on Facebook Marketplace, and people come in and buy bags and bags of books for $1 each from their garage.
Yeah, I agree, and just like Amazon merch is undervalued right now, Facebook Marketplace is where it's at. There's a huge market. Facebook groups, oh my God, the power is incredible. The reach is phenomenal. Yesterday, this happened literally yesterday. A friend of mine told me he started a Facebook group, got 24,000 guys. They're doing online auctions in the Facebook group. I think it was called I Sold. He's going to kill me if I don't get it right. But long story short, no fees. That's what they were so thrilled about. They're doing live auctions, and they're selling stuff that they couldn't sell other places, and they're selling it and getting money for it
on a Facebook group. So the bids are just comments on the posts or something.
Yes, yeah, and they said that there's a 15-second delay and that they're working out the kinks, but basically, literally, he told me in the morning, and by the afternoon, some of the other guys were like, yo, you got to join it. We all been making a lot of money with it. You got to get in on it, Mark. We would love to have your clout on the board with us.
Right.
And I was like, all right. I said, I'll take a look at it, but Facebook Marketplace, because it puts a picture with the person, people trust it more. It's more reliable. You can see where people work.
Right.
Craigslist, I got a video coming out on my YouTube for Craigslist because someone got shot in Jersey last week or 2 weeks ago. There was an execution style murder. Someone did a Craigslist deal for a PlayStation and got killed for it. So
that's ridiculous.
On Facebook it could happen, but it's not going to be it's not going to happen like that. And I wrote down a bunch of stuff. If you want to collab on it, I'd love your help. Or just tips. I've written down all the Craigslist scams I can come up with, and I want to just highlight them and even talk to the people on the phone and record the conversations of the crap that they say to get you in these hooks. Because the old people, I can't blame them for being scared of Craigslist.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Something that you said about the auctions reminded me of something I saw when I was on Facebook Marketplace, because if you don't use Facebook Marketplace, you don't know, but there's before Facebook Marketplace, there was buy, sell, trade groups. Then when they rolled out the marketplace, they integrated the buy, sell, trade groups. So when you post to your local area, you can choose to automatically also post it to the buy, sell, trade groups, which I highly recommend. It could be a little pain in the ass because then you have people talking to you on your post and in all the various groups or whatever, but you're going to get more eyeballs. But what happened to me one time was I ended up in one of these groups, and let's say it's a local buy sell trade group for the town that I live in, or a mom trade group or something. I don't know what it was exactly, but I was in the group and there was this lady and she was live, and I was watching her and she was selling quilts that she had made, or I'm assuming she made them, but she did a live auction on a live video in one of these groups on Facebook, and she was like, it was super professional. So it was like she sold like 10 quilts and they had like big numbers clipped to them, and she was like, this is number 44, this is a 12 by 10 Afghan, like whatever the heck it was. And then she was like, we're starting this at 200, and like people were bidding in the comments, and then she was like talking to them back and forth. And then it was like, okay, you win, like text this number to confirm your purchase. And then if they didn't text them within 5 minutes, they put it back up, and they were like two people running the show or whatever. But I was just amazed. I was like, wow, like they just took the live video on Facebook and did whatever they wanted to do with it, and they just turned a live video into an auction.
Wow,
Which is pretty
that's pretty
cool.
much exactly what those guys are doing, and they're pumped about it because I mean, I paid $22,000 to eBay last year, and I paid $20,000 to Amazon in fees, and that could have been a lot of money in my pocket if I didn't. Not everything is sellable on eBay on Facebook, but I definitely think a percentage of that could have been saved. Speaking of winning and doing online stuff, guys, look at this basket.
Dude, that's so
Nice. All right.
full.
I'm gonna get just one. So if you guys
We need a
win,
drum roll, guys. Drum roll in the chat, please.
drum roll, please.
And the winner is
Mel. All right. The winner is Mel Issa.
Mel Issa, who I'm
Can you read
assuming his
that?
name is Melissa. Yeah.
Melissa. All right. Congratulations, Melissa. This is what I need you to do. Reezy put it up. Email me right now at markmeyerhere@gmail, and I will get you PayPal money right now. Okay. And if you would like, you let me know, and we'll send you out a Baggage Battles DVD. Rick, can you grab me one? And I'll send you a hat as well. All right. We got these box copies of the DVDs of the show. Okay. You're not going to learn a lot. You're just going to be really well entertained. If you want to learn a lot, you got to watch Reezy, and you got to listen to tips and tricks videos from professionals. There's just not enough time in TV to talk about the real grind.
Right. It's all
There's just
about. So, what's fun? We'll hang out until we get your email from Melissa. But so I like to watch the shows. I don't care if they're fake or not. I mean, before I knew a lot of those shows were fake, like American Pickers, Storage Wars, etc. And I really like American Pickers, but it's super fake. But it's still a lot of value. Like I would literally just fast forward to the end, right? And it's just like
just to see value.
just to
Yeah.
see the recap, just to see the value. The same reason why I still like to watch Antiques Roadshow, which I don't even know if is that a real thing anymore, or am I watching reruns or what?
I think it's still an ongoing thing. I follow their Facebook, and they still post up current stuff. It seems like they're still using cameras from the 80s, but
Right.
but I do see new
VHS
content.
shoulder cam.
Yeah, the big guys are walking around, talking to. They not only do they appraise antiques, they use antique cameras on that show.
Make sure you send that email, Melissa.
Yeah, Melissa,
We're waiting
please.
for Mark to get that email, and he's gonna
Let me
send it to you
let me
live
look.
on the show. So yeah, dude, Antique Roadshow. That was like the original first show. Like that's probably the first show in that entire genre, wouldn't you say? Like before any of them.
Absolutely, Antiques Roadshow was the precursor to all the shows.
Yeah, which proved that people had, that there was a want for people to consume that kind of content. And then they figured out how to, put all kinds of emotion and get people bickering with each other and whatever stuff that sells on TV.
Mm-hmm. Look, Melissa, get it in. I'm waiting for you, babe. Get it in. All right. Email me that, and we will get your PayPal money ASAP. All right.
Someone said that the cameras they use make it look more antique.
Absolutely. It's the Antique Roadshow. I mean, I enjoy it. I love seeing like crazy values. I mean, so one of the things that the television always wants, the audience wants, is they want bright colors, they want a lot of drama and action, and they want big colorful items. So often one of my biggest frustrations was I really love tools. And after we did like one episode of tools, the producers were like, "Yeah, we're not going to show you making money on tools anymore. It's kind of boring." And I was like, "But that's
Dang.
my business. That's what I love to do."
Right.
And then what we kind of had to do was we had to like describe the local area because I work for Travel Channel. We had to keep traveling, and that was like awesome. But um, for me, it was always trying to buy something out of state or out of the country that was rare in New York and always bring it back. And I really enjoyed all the things I
Dude, let's do
see.
a holler at your boys at the Travel Channel. Let's do a new show where me and you travel across the US and we meet all kinds of resellers and just learn about their hustles and
Hey,
see the
I'm
stuff that
game.
they're selling.
I'm game. I still have a ton of contacts in New York City, and they will listen to some pitches, and I'm game to talk about it. And when Luna grows up, listen, I know that hat's too big for her,
Yeah.
but you're making a little YouTube star, and she's a cutie. And when she gets big enough to grow into the hat, if you want me to put a word in, and she
Dude, let's
wants to
do
be
it.
famous, all
I
right.
told you right there. These shows are headhunting the resellers, right? Like everybody I know that's notable in the reseller community, at least the ones that have a YouTube channel, have been contacted by someone. Like I couldn't pick anyone. I guarantee you, anybody that I was to contact and be like, hey, I'm talking to these guys, and you'd be a good fit for this deal they're trying to work. They would tell me they've already signed a shopping agreement.
Yeah.
So basically what happened is, all those shows like Storage Wars, Pawn Stars, the other ones I don't know why I wouldn't think but about your show or whatever, but all those shows, they're losing viewership like massively, just because the views are going to the internet. And then also they have an older cast, they're not as young. Like you're really young. Were you the youngest person on Baggage Battles?
Uh, I was the youngest person who applied for that job. Like 120 people tried for baggage battles, and 3 got picked, and I was the youngest by 10 years.
Right.
And
So
the
yeah,
criteria was like you had to have a bachelor's degree, you had to have a store, and they made me prove everything. I told them I went to an auction. They were like, "Show us 5 of your most recent receipts." I had to they vetted me hardcore, and yeah, they got into it. I
dang,
have really good
I'm
news.
out. No bachelor degree. I'm out, bro. Sorry.
Well, listen, I got really good news. Melissa just gave me her email. Okay.
Nice.
So send money. It's MS Melissa.
Don't blast her on live YouTube.
No, I won't. And she's from Australia.
Oh
Okay. 'Cause
wow.
it's being sent to the Australian dollar. I need to send her 100 US, which is 127 Australian dollars. And homegirls, and I'll pay a PayPal fee, no problem. Okay.
We're
Send
giving
that.
out money.
All
Not
right.
just hustle, we
So
giving out money.
I'm gonna cover up her. Oh, you know what? It doesn't even say her email. There you go. I hope you guys can read it. All right, we're giving out free money. And we appreciate you
Yay,
guys.
Melissa
All
got her
right,
money.
Melissa got her money. My balance is withdrawn, and that's awesome. I'm glad we could do it live. That was the fun part. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
super cool.
dude. Isn't the
Someone
internet
said, wow, that's a lot of kangaroo meat.
great? Yo, I'm telling you, you should go. You should. I've been to
People
Australia.
eat
It's awesome.
kangaroos? That ain't right. They don't eat kangaroos, do they?
No, they don't eat kangaroo. They just eat roo. They don't call it kangaroo. You just have a roo steak.
For real? You're not joking.
I'm not joking. I've had kangaroo. I'm sorry to the vegetarians. I'm sorry to my future girlfriends, but like
Luna, come here. I got a prize for you. Luna just walked in, and I want to show her the surprise you got her.
Hi Luna.
Here, hold on. She can't hear you. Let me give her one headphone. Here.
Yeah. Hi Luna.
Hello. This is Mark, and he's in New York, and he sent me a gift for you. Look. Can you read the hat? What does it say?
Travel Channel.
Yep. Let's see. Let's put it on you.
There we go.
Yeah. What do you think?
It's fun. It's a little funny.
You think it's funny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just did a giveaway. We gave Melissa in Australia $100. What do you think about that?
Why did you do that?
Why
Oh,
wouldn't we do that?
Because we're having a good time.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is that not okay?
Yeah, we need to save up money.
Oh, good. It wasn't. Good thing it wasn't Daddy's money. It was my
Yeah,
money.
it was Mark's money. It wasn't my money.
Oh,
Does that make it better?
yeah.
Okay. Do you come up here to see when I'm going to be done so you can start watching some shows?
Yeah.
I knew it. Get out of
Are
here.
you almost done?
We'll be done soon.
Yeah, we're almost done.
Daddy, listen, I'll only give you 10 more minutes, then you're done.
Oh my gosh, you run the show now. Get out of here, you dork. Go show Mom your hat that you got. Oh my god. Yeah, she knows how to work the internet so well. She's like streaming shows, throwing a Chromecast. And when I do the live show, I have to tell everyone not to be on the internet because it kills the show. It'll have lag.
Yeah.
Also, it took me a while to figure it out, but if you use the microwave, it kills the Wi-Fi.
Whoa.
So I would be like, dude, my show was choppy. What happened, babe? I told you not to go on. She's like, I wasn't. And then I later found out that when it's like the same frequency, the Wi-Fi and the microwave. So when the microwave's on, like instantly drops as soon as the microwave turns off and then comes back as soon as the microwave's off. It's ridiculous.
Wow. I'm going to take a minute. If you guys have any more questions you want us to answer. Oh, man, he's just pointing at me. We got one. All right. Jennifer Ferguson wants to know favorite baggage battle story. Oh my God. To put it in context, I've done 65 episodes of baggage battles. So like you're asking a very big question. I'll tell you my favorite baggage battle story. We were in South Africa, and in South Africa, baggage battles is a huge deal. Okay. I went to a club and everybody literally, it's like open arms. And I was online in the club and a bouncer comes up to me and says, "You two come with me." They walked me right by security. They sat me down. They said, "This is Gina. This is Linda. They're going to hang out with you guys for the night. This is the club owner." And they introduced me and the club owner sat down. He said, "Mark, I want you to know I'm a very big fan of your show." And it was a really cool experience. And I found out, I didn't know it at the time, but I found out that baggage battles, because it's internationally shown, baggage battles was on channel 7 next to, basically the time slot went like this: Big Bang Theory, baggage battles, Pawn Stars.
Wow. That's huge.
So it was like they looked at me like Sheldon just walked in the room.
Yeah, Big Bang Theory is like one of the most successful TV shows ever, right?
Oh, absolutely. And they were like, could not, I mean, people were shaking. We were walking through the airport and a little kid who was like 12 years old came up to us. He was like trembling. And I was walking with Sally, who's a host on the show. And he was like, "Would you sign a picture?" And Sally, just knowing exactly what to do, just gave him a hug. And the kid just
Awesome.
like loved it. And South Africa was a really cool experience for me. And we had 200 fans come out to the auction, to the point where they put security with us because we couldn't make it from the green room to set without being stopped. And a girl by the name of Jolie came out with her parents. Her parents said, "We drove over an hour to come to this auction because my daughter's a huge fan. Would you take a photo with her?" And I said, "Oh, of course, of course." I take a photo with her, and then 2 hours later, the parents come back and they say, "We would like you to sign it." And they had that photo. They ran to the nearest print shop in South Africa, had it printed, and she came and I signed it and autographed the photo I took 2 hours ago to her. That's like one of the coolest stories I ever have. And like, she's a super fan. And like, a lot of fans don't think that they could affect you, but they really can.
Right,
And
for
that
sure.
was like, that was a big thing for me.
Because it's two different things, right? It's like you have your own motivations for doing the show, whether, it provides fulfillment to you or whatever kind of fulfillment or financial fulfillment or whatever it is. But then when you get that back end, the response from the people that you might think you're affecting people, or you never know, right? Like it's totally different, right? Like,
yeah. You guys, I want to thank you guys a lot. I mean, Reezy, so you've opened up, you've told your secrets, you've taught us a lot. I've always kept my cards kind of close to my chest because literally it's dog eat dog out there, and spilling your secrets sometimes can get you bit. So
for sure.
I've opened up a lot more since I saw you guys because I realized there's a lot. there's a lot more to gain by lowering your walls than there is to be putting up high walls. And
Definitely.
I had someone hit me up on Instagram. He's a guy out in Texas. He got a huge load. He got a building inherited to him and he didn't know what to do with it. I told him to call me. I spent 25 minutes on the phone with the guy, and literally he like was so grateful. He offered to ghostwrite my book. So,
Wow.
and he was just like, I want to help you for helping me, and I can't believe you gave me that time. And that's like a really rewarding experience. And I started speaking in schools in the last 2 years, and that's like an amazing day for me. And now that I've been able to give back, it's been incredible. And it's cliche to say it, but like you get so much more than you gain so much more than when you give, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. No, no, I feel you too. And the best part about it is that it's like not only does it make you feel really good as a person, like regardless of if anything comes back, but what I've learned is that it always comes back, and it comes back like you send out little ripples all day, it comes back and you get hit with a tsunami of like unexpected greatness. Like people are like, "Yo, I want to help you ghostwrite your book," or or you're speaking at schools, and like you're literally changing the world, like one person tells you like, I saw your video, or thanks for talking to me that day, or like, what if you saw that guy? What if like tomorrow you saw that dude that you saw in the coffee shop or whatever when you were getting bagels?
Oh man,
And like
yeah.
what, you know what I mean? Like, bro, I gotta tell you, bro, you changed my life. Like, those 12
Yeah.
seconds that you talked to me like 3 years ago or 10 years ago, whatever it was, like it's
Yeah.
just it's insane.
If I never met that guy, I would never have attended an auction in my life. And like I hunted that forever. And yeah, absolutely. If you guys want to know more about auctions, I'll give you some time. DM me. If you DM me, I'm gonna probably just talk to you on the phone because I'm a busy guy, and I get a lot more out through phone conversation than I can through text. But I promise to try to help you guys, help Reezy out.
Yeah,
And
he's not lying. Like I talked to him for like 5 minutes in text, and I was in Canada when I talked to him, and then he was like, "Yo, just give me a call," and I called him, and I think we talked for like an hour or something.
yeah, it was awesome. I think that that's the best way to do it. I really do get a good sense of helping people, and that's one reason I gave my time tonight. You know.
Yeah, no, we really appreciate it, man. Shout out to Valerie Michaels who hit us with another $5 super chat. I really appreciate that. So our beer fund is looking like $10 right now, Mark.
Yeah, I got Red Bull and I got some Yingling in the fridge. I think me and Rick are definitely gonna pop open some beer soon.
That's
Do a
awesome.
victory dance. Yeah.
Why not? You might as well. So guys, if you enjoyed the content, please check out up here. We have some more episodes of Reezy Talks, and I know you'll like them. If you don't have time for video, that's great. Go check out the podcast. You can listen to all the episodes. It's a little bit behind, so if you want to catch the new episodes, your best bet is to be here on YouTube every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard, 9 p.m. Eastern. But you can catch the episodes, 2 weeks old on the podcast, and I would appreciate a review. Also, make sure you go down into the description and subscribe to Mark's YouTube channel. That is an auto subscribe link, which I don't know if Mark knows what that is, but what happens is when you click on it in a browser, it pops up right away and says, "Would you like to subscribe to Mark's YouTube?" And all you have to do is click yes. Follow him on Instagram, shoot him a DM, hit up his comments. He has a wealth of experience and knowledge around auctions and dealing with TV shows and all kinds of stuff. I'm definitely going to stay in touch with you, Mark. We'll be talking in the future. And you know what we say around here when it's time to go, don't you?
If you ain't flipping, you slipping.
Yep. Awesome, dude. Thank you so much, Mark. I'll see you next time I have you on.
Cheers, man. Thank you.